Let's get to the National Party and its decision, of course, to step away from the Liberal Party, the coalition that is now, of course, in tatters. A person who knows what it's like to be in the leadership position of a coalition is, of course, the former Deputy Prime Minister, former Nationals leader, and a straight talker, as always, Michael McCormack, who joins us 24 hours after that decision, but he was in the room as the decision was being made yesterday. Michael, nice to talk to you, mate. Where are we tonight? I like the background.
I'm in Bowding Community Hall, and you need to come out to this community, Paul. We've had a protest meeting tonight talking about 90 wind towers higher than the Trump Manhattan Tower, which are going to be placed potentially between Bowding and Bindalong, two great little communities in the Yass Valley. This is the rush to renewables madness. This is what these communities are facing, and 140 people turned out tonight to hear just how their livability, their wonderful little communities are going to be so badly affected. Now, Chris Bowen might have a mandate because they've just won the election, but he doesn't have a mandate to ruin regional Australia, and we will stand up to him every day of the week in regards to this rush to renewables madness.
So, given the ability of standing on your own 2 feet or being in a partnership, what is a more effective way of being able to resist this push that is coming from the government and, frankly, endorsed because they won the election the way they did?
Well, people power, Paul, but in a partnership. And obviously, the Sydney Morning Herald cottoned on to the fact that I didn't support the divorce, call it what you like. And I've adhered to party protocol for solidarity, but I am concerned that the breakup with the Liberal Party will unnecessarily affect our prospects at the next election, because we need to be a cohesive force. And I hope that the breakup is only temporary. I hope that we can get back with the Liberal Party. And yes, sure, we'll advocate for all those important 4 things that David Littleproud took in good faith to Susan Lee. But I do question the haste with which the decision has been made. But look, it's been made. We've got to get on with it now, and we'll see what happens from here.
Now, again, as a person who has been in these relationships where you know how the decisions of the Liberal PM sometimes can be resisted, outright disliked by some people in the regional areas where the National Party represents. To those that are pro the breakup, they say, great, no longer do we have to be the tail wagging the dog or the dog and the tail, all of that business, right? Instead, our own 2 feet, we don't have to compromise, we are who we are. What's your response to those people who say the best thing about the divorce is you don't have to, for want of a better term, compromise for anyone?
Well, I get that people would like to see more National Party members free range and to be able to speak freely about the issues that are important to them. And obviously, that's net zero, nuclear power, coal mining, all those issues. And I get that sometimes those sorts of issues, even the live sheep trade, don't resonate with people in the cities, people who are turning to the teals. For what reason, I don't know. But seriously, we can do a lot more together. As John Howard says, this country is governed best when it's governed by a Liberals and Nationals cohesive government. And I hope that we can get back to that coalition in double quick time, because I think it's too important not to.
Something that I'm finding frustrating as just a person who loves the regions, visits as often as we can, but obviously you represent and live in those regions, is that exactly the reason why you're standing in the community hall that you are right now is that the Labor Party, assuming that, look, they could just dump from high heaven all of the consequences of their decisions to make people in the inner city happy, and they'll just keep throwing it on and throwing it on and throwing it on regional areas. That is the consequence of the next 3 years. And I suppose, as I said last night, one of the things that I like about the partnership, it means that the leader of the party is the Deputy Prime Minister. The backbench Nationals MP gets to walk up to the Minister of Government, regardless of what party, and is able to take the concerns of that room that you're in and take it to the heart of Canberra. But even outside of the relationship of what the coalition is or isn't for the next 3 years, do you have a feeling that Labor is going to freely punish the regions because they see no political downside in it whatsoever?
Well, they already have. I mean, the last budget that Dr. Jim Chalmers brought down there was no regional infrastructure funding. He took away the local roads and community infrastructure fund, which I put in place as Deputy Prime Minister, and that gave councils the autonomy to fix their roads, to make decisions based on local people's needs and wants and expectations and demands. All that money went, and yet I didn't hear one commentator say this is a dreadful thing for regional Australia. Thankfully, David Littleproud got up the Regional Australia Future Fund, which would have built up to $20 billion. And that was one of the asks that we did of the Liberal Party. I'm sure they probably would have gone along with it, but we will always proudly represent the regions. National Party will always, that's our sole focus, obviously in the national interest, but this is where the food and fibre is grown. This is where the resources are dug up, which helps to keep the lights on, which helps to keep the balance of payments. And it's been neglected by Labor. And if what we saw in the first 3 years was bad enough, it's going to be far worse in the next 3 years, and it's going to be far worse if the Liberals and Nationals don't get back together and get back together soon.
Good stuff. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate the conversation. Looking forward to it many times into the future, and say good day to everyone. Not too far from Yass. Thank you, mate. Michael McCormack there, of course, the former Nationals leader, former Deputy Prime Minister, and a man who is, always there for his local community, obviously thinking about the national interest as well.